Today's topic is about leading and thriving at uncertain times with our emotional capital. This is more about being intentional, being adaptable, and most importantly, empowering yourself to drive positive change in your life and in the life of others, particularly when you are wanting to change and reclaim new aspirations of yourself. Let me clarify this concept for all of us. What does it truly mean to lead? And how do you develop the mindset needed to thrive at these modern leadership times? In many cases, leadership starts with understanding your emotional intelligence, your level of emotional intelligence, and also your levels of self-awareness. Self-knowing, one of the capabilities how leaders are measured, it's a sign also of your emotional intelligence. And today, I want to share the scores of my emotional capital report when I took the survey for the first time in 2022. And it was an interesting time in all of our lives. So self-knowing came as my signature strength. And so when you identify your signature strength, this means of having the ability to name the emotions that are affecting you at the time, understanding the impact on yourself and others, and assessing your reactions and how they influence in certain situations. This was spot on for me at the time, and being an emotional, vibrant woman with a Latin background, this is crucial to understand. The second capability that I want to share today is straightforwardness. Prior to completing the emotional capital report, I faced significant challenges that I have perhaps shared here before. And my challenges were in communicating my thoughts clearly and confidently in areas that I was impacted at the time through personal trials and the effects of Melbourne lockdown. As you may know or remember, Melbourne was one of the most locked down cities in the world. So at the time, my scores indicated that my straightforwardness was an area for development, and I needed to engage a coach at the time to help me overcome the lower scores. The emotional capital report scores in your self-reliant as the third capability to measure leadership and emotional intelligence. I want to also discuss this today, really openly with you. And this came for me in an effective range. This meant that while I possess a strong sense of independence, there were moments, especially under pressure, where I put other people's needs ahead of mine. Knowing or gaining insight of this reflected on my experience at the time, where I felt so insecure, I felt anxious, I felt fearful, not only about the fear of failure, but about life in general. Many women working in contract roles cultivate self-directness mindset, particularly because they might be the only sole breadwinner in their family, and they are forced to quickly make decisions that feels at times as you are constantly putting out the fires. In my case, and at the time I have mentioned before, this meant that I kind of prioritize other people's agendas instead of mine, which impacted in my life and deviated me from my long-term and personal goals. Over time, I'm working with a coach. I also developed the strategies to address these tendencies, allowing me to stay focused on my own vision while navigating external pressures. I have a question for you now. Are you ready to reclaim control over your journey building leadership skills that reflect your true potential and invest further in your emotional capital? I would love to connect with you and tell you more about this amazing tool called the Emotional Capital Report. And the link will be in the comments. I can't wait to hear from you. Invest in your emotional capital. You are worth it.